Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is October 16, 2023, and today is Monday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, we're watching big tech sell off almost across the board, and especially Meta, which was one of the strongest stocks. Now looking at today's major economic events, so at 2:30 South African time, out of the United States, we have an Empire State Manufacturing Index number coming out. Now, looking at the various markets going into this number, starting out with the Forex symbols, the major pairs pretty much tapering off closer to supportish level, while the Turkish Lira makes new record lows once again, 27.80. Now, looking at the indices, both the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both sold off, and looking at the commodities, gold explodes and breaks out higher, while oil gets a rally as well. Now looking at the stocks, specifically the tech stocks were very weak, while JP Morgan gets a gap up and go, and we're going to take a look at that in just a second. And lastly, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin gets a bounce. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the Euro USD, and look at this. This was a dead cat bounce. We got that sell off, and then we got a sharp bounce, and we're close to back to our lows, which really is the proof in the pudding that it was a dead cat bounce, meaning that that bounce was not really a rally, but rather it was a short covering, a short squeeze, so to speak. And then, you know, when all the short squeezes were there, everybody started buying it up. There weren't real buyers, and then it goes right back down. And sure enough, that's what happened. So we're really close to back down to our supportish level, both in the GBP and the Euro. Now I'm going to jump into the Turkish Lira because it's making new lows once again, 27.80. And it's just continuously grinding higher versus the dollar. I mean, if you look at a weekly chart, not very encouraging whatsoever. Now looking at the commodities, gold hit above 1929, exploded, and then tapering off at 1910ish right now. Looking at a daily, that is it. That was an amazing move, and it's very vicious. 1824 up to 1929, over a 100-point move, and such a short period of time, over 2 weeks. And that is, it looks like it's tapering off now, namely because it's hitting that 200-day moving average, really respecting it, as we see that very often. And now it's retracing. Now, I would say if it's going to retrace somewhere, there's a 50% retracement. So somewhere between 1880 and 1860, it's going to retrace too. Okay, close to that 30-day moving average as well. So that's a nice little play. And these layups happen all the time. That was just a very easy trade. Now looking at crude oil, it did rally up to 85, 86-ish level, just touching 86-ish level, and then tapering off. And right now it's at 85.94. I don't expect it to explode, but keep an eye on it, because there's a lot of things happening socioeconomically in the world, geographically, politically, you know, a lot of tension in the world right now. So this may actually still be in play. Now jumping into the U.S. markets, okay, the Dow Jones sold off, but not as sharply as the NASDAQ did. NASDAQ was sold off over 400 points or close to it, okay, as it retraced from its highs of 15,400 down to 15,100-ish level, but within that time frame, okay? So this was an aggressive sell-off. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that if we look at the big tech, and specifically the big tech, the Facebook, which made new all-time highs for the year last week at 330-ish level, now has retraced to 1314. Okay, that's a significant retracement. This could be just jitters before the major corporate earnings report that is coming up, the quarterly earnings that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, but just be aware of it, okay? And it's happening systemically. Apple also retraced. If you looked on, Microsoft also had a decent sell-off as well. So this is happening. Now looking at JP Morgan, which is really very interesting because it had a gap up. I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, excuse me. You see this gap up went from 148 up to 152, which is a decent move, and then tapered off, but didn't close the gap yet, at least for now. Okay, so that may still be a play. And so this is something I want to pay attention to, as this is still a thing that will or may still happen today. Okay, so just be aware. Lastly, looking at Bitcoin, got a little bit of a bounce to 27.882. Not a big deal, still trading within that range. Could be a great trade, but just realize that it's very choppy. If you buy the bottom, sell the top, you should be okay. This is Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.